Legacy of Phrecia is back, and I'm hyped. Here's what I'm going to do for this event, and I thought long and hard about this. Perhaps too hard, as I usually do. There are a lot of builds out there that I want to try. There's a lot of things I want to do. Making cool stuff and testing out theories is my favorite thing about PoE. Some people enjoy the grind, and I do enjoy the grind, but not as much as I enjoy making stuff. Crafting stuff, making builds, spending more time in PoB than I do in PoE. You know, the usual. Some also enjoy mindlessly slaughtering hordes and hordes forever and ever until they move on to the next game. And some are incredibly confused and have no idea what they're doing and frantically trying to slap something together that works. No, this was me last time the Phrecia event came around. I didn't make a plan, I barely did any research, and I had a pretty bad time. So this time, I will do it differently. Also, I do my best to explain all of the things, of which there are many in any build guide I make. I may forget some things or omit some things I don't think are important, so the videos aren't hours long, since this game is really, really complicated. But if you have questions, please ask. I also usually have a ton in the notes section of my build guide POBs. Good luck parsing those, though. I think Bog Shaman is going to be my pick this time. There are a lot of cool things you can do with Bog Shaman, and I found that I can easily hit the cold dot cap, which I've always wanted to do. Also, the Witch is a Bog Shaman, my beloved. Also, you can get the Forbidden Flesh and Flame for Occultist nodes, my other beloved. I've had several ideas going through my head for Bog Shaman. I did finally settle on one, but here are some of my initial thoughts in case anyone feels brave and wants to try them out. You can use Rotten Core, let me drag this over here, to trigger cast when damage taken. This will allow you to automate nearly everything with Ice Nova Frostbolts, or Vortex of Frostbolts, or whatever it's called. I think it's Vortex of Projection. The Cold Dot equivalent. You can also, so you can throw out the Frostbolts with cast when damage taken. You can curse with cast when damage taken. You can even cast Frost Shield with cast when damage taken. And if you're feeling real cheeky, you can even use the Foulborn Katava's Thirst for even more automation. Along with all that juiciness, you can go the normal armor defense route and use Divine Shield. All the damage that you're taking from Rotten Core here will apply to Divine Shield down here. So you get yourself a ton of ES regen just from the synergy between those two. Or you can go damage over time skills and a life stack, which is what I'm doing. I saw a bunch of cool Blight of Contagion builds last Phrecia event. I'm sure that'll make a comeback. Impending Doom with the Foulborn Deodre's helmet also looks quite good on Bog Shaman. I almost did that. It was a toss-up between that and what I'm going to do. Now, what did I decide on? I'm going with a Vaal Cold Snap. It's a classic. It's usually done on the long neck old man, the Architect of Chaos, but I like Witch better. And after some pop magic, I found I can hit the dot cap pretty easily for just Vaal Cold Snap. This is not a super juiced min-maxed build by any means. This is using some... There are some expensive things in here, like Progenesis. I won't have that early. Kalandra's Touch, I just threw that in there because I was lazy and didn't want to make another ring. Twilight Regalia, Lich's Circle, that'll cost a little bit. But nothing crazy. There's no Mage Blood, there's no Headhunter, there's no Adorned here, there's no Voices. And I am hitting 26.7 million dot DPS on Vaal Cold Snap. And the beautiful thing about Cold Snap is you get two of them. You can enable Vaal Cold Snap and Cold Snap, which is 49 million dot DPS, which is way over the dot cap, which is what I would be doing on bosses. So this will be pretty easy to do. Don't mind all of these other unenabled support gems. These are just there to show you that these are also good, and you can use them if you want to. Like, say I wanted to get rid of this because it's only giving me a small amount of DPS. You can hover over these, be like, I get 9.8 million DPS from Cruelty. I get 11.5 from this, but you got to be careful with this because it's bait, but I left it there anyway. Moving on. I can't really give budget numbers here because I have no idea what all of this will cost. Phrecia market goes crazy, but I went fairly cheap on the gear to start, so I'm hopeful that this is achievable in my first few days or my first week of playing, at least if I craft most of it myself, that is. So why Bog Shaman over Architect of Chaos? We got the Chaos Bloodline, this bad boy down here, this beautiful SOB. Shepherd of Souls reduces the number of souls it takes for a cast of a Vaal skill. 80% less souls. This increases if any Vaal Skull has been used in the past 8 seconds. This means that Vaal Cold Snap costs 7 souls. Usually it costs 35. And it still holds 35 souls. So you get 5 casts of Vaal Cold Snap, essentially, for the price of 1. There are other content creators out there that cover this a lot more in detail. Captain Lance has a lot of really good videos on this. Highly recommend watching. But this lets you boss with it, since generating those few souls will be easy peasy. There's a rune graph that we use to gain 1 Vaal soul per second. Ideally, we'd be able to grab this other one, because this gives us another Vaal soul per second, which is 2. And that means that in like 3.5 seconds, we would have enough for a cast of Vaal Cold Snap. Instead, we're going to go 7, but you also get souls from damaging bosses, which we will do very, very quickly, so I'm not too worried about it. You also get some other good stuff, but alas, we need the 3 nodes from this bad boy. These are non-negotiable, at least for how much they do for us. So moving on, the other reason is the sheer amount of life that you can stack on the Bog Shaman. Let me just put this into perspective there for you. I put all of the nodes down here since Pop isn't updated. This Sanguine whatever node, the important one, where you gain maximum life instead of maximum energy shield from equipped armor items. You can see I'm at 27,000 life here. If I comment this out, it takes me down to 12.5. My damage also drops nearly in half. So that one node is doing, I guess I'd have to comment both of these out, but that one node is doing a ton for us. The rest are just bonuses that are nice to have. The other reason is the Foulborn Wrathpith. You deal 5% increased damage over time per 100 player maximum life. That gives you a ton of increased damage over time. I don't know how much, what, like 270%? Which scales multiplicatively with this other node on the Bog Shaman. That's 40% more damage over time. And then any source of crit, or dot multi, I usually go crit, if you couldn't tell, I keep calling it crit multi. Like what you would get from this cold mastery here, which is why we're stacking so much cold resistance. That also stacks multiplicatively with the 270% or however much we're getting from Wrathpith. So it is a lot. It is an insane amount of damage, because normally cold dot isn't this good, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a blast. We're all going to have a blast. It's going to be good. Everybody loves Phrecia. So yeah, all solid wins with Bog Shaman. Moving on to the next session. What makes this build work? What are the core components here? I am glad you asked. These are the things that you need to know, the juicy important bits. Watch this if you don't watch any other part if you're interested in doing a damage over time Bog Shaman. Like I just mentioned, Foulborn Wrathpith. This bad boy right here, this is what enables this build. Much like how Relicash boots enable power charge stacking shenanigans, this enables life stacking shenanigans. The Foulborn version specifically enables damage over time, life stacking shenanigans. The shield is the pinnacle, the pillar, the archstone. To fully reap the benefits of this, we stack as much life as humanly possible. I could stack way more life than this, by the way. 27,000 is far from the cap on how much life you can have. This is just me doing this with a modest build here. The next thing is we turn the energy shield values on our armor items into life with Bog Shaman. What I mean by that is, you see that energy shield, the 456 there at the top? That turns into life. Increases to it don't count. So if I were to go to the tree here and grab some energy shield here, or some percent increased energy shield anywhere, that doesn't get converted into life. Only what it says up here at the top. So the local increases that you'd get in the affixes, like that 56 to maximum energy shield, 100% increased energy shield, that affects the top number, which means that it affects our life. You can get a ton on a Lich's Circlet, you can get a ton on a Twilight Regalia. Cheeky things that you would normally do, like this armor mastery to get 100% increased armor and energy shield, doesn't work. Neither does the energy shield mastery for 100% increased energy shield from your equipped helmet. Those do not convert into life, so don't try. We already did. So basically just getting a ton of life, a ton of ES, some resistances, other stats. Pretty good. Another thing, you may have thought of this already, but Foulborn Utulas doesn't work either, since the ES value is in the affixes and not at the top of the item. Number 2, we grab life nodes everywhere. All of the life nodes. You see a life node, you take it. We want all of them. Except for this one, I didn't have room. Wait, where to go? This one. I didn't have room for this one. It was a little too far away. I am full of passive points. I missed one, alas. But yeah, all the life nodes, you want 6 life masteries. Because of whichever one here that I can't find it. There are a bunch. Yeah, this one. 10% more maximum life if you have at least 6 life masteries allocated. This is multiplicative with increases to life, which we're getting a ton of. Because again, another Foulborn awesome item is the Foulborn Red Dream. That makes fire resistance grant increased maximum life at 75% of its value. And we can get a ton of fire resistance here with tattoos and other sources of fire resistance. We also want the fire resistance for Righteous Fire, and the maximum fire res stuff is over here. It's a fantastic spot. Great thing. Life stacking is awesome. The next thing is Dissolution of the Flesh. It's over here somewhere. I'll just look at it here. This thing, I may keep it in here. I might not. We'll see. It removes all energy shield, but we do that with our Ascendancy anyway. Life that would be lost by taking damage is instead reserved until you take no damage to life for 2 seconds. That might hurt us. That might kill us. That might break the build. If it does, I'll be sad because it gives 28% more maximum life. And as you can see, it gives us a ton of all of these useful, juicy EHP and full DPS stats that we love so very much. But if we do have to get rid of it, it's not the end of the world. Ugh, we take such a hit to our life. But we still hit the dot cap if we use both Cold Snap and Vaal Cold Snap. So, not the end of the world. Would make me sad, but we can live without it. This is also a fantastic use case for the Adorned with Life and Cold Dot multi-jewels, like this one here. We just corrupt it with Life, Cold Dot, use the Adorned, stack a ton of these. Is another good option. It's something I might do if I go with a really high budget. Get some voices, go crazy. Our other ways of scaling, like I mentioned, are with dot multi, since it'll hit much harder with all of the increased dot we have with Wrath Pith and all of the increased spell damage we have with Wrath Pith. And the dot multi scales multiplicatively with both of these bonuses. They increase spell damage, increase damage over time. Pretty good. Spell levels also go a long way here, since that increases our flat damage, which is getting increased by the percent damage, which is getting increased by the more damage. So we're also stacking as many spell levels as we can on our Cold Snap. As you can see, it's level 30. To do that, we'll use Foulborn, Toolborn, and Replica Dragonfang. Another good amulet that I'll give a shout out to is Impresence. With this, you can run Frostbite and Elemental Weakness as auras that won't cost you anything. But I think Replica Dragonfang is better. Along with that, we also stack some cold resistance for that cold mastery, like I pointed out before. All of that adds together to give us a ton of damage. We have a ton of tankiness. Fun fact here, I have Steel Skin because a Mortal Call will eat your endurance charges. But if I throw a Mortal Call in here, look at these numbers. These things, it's beautiful. I've never seen such high max hits before. This is insane. But alas, I want my endurance charges. Speaking of which, we generate those with these grafts here. And these Ool grafts are also crazy. You get tons of damage over time multi, and you can get increased maximum life. The rest is kind of somewhat worthless. What is it, Tender Embrace? Yeah. Gives life recovery rate and endurance charges every once in a while. It's alright. Not life-changing, but it's alright. That covers it all for the main juice for the build. It's really a question now of what's the best way of increasing our life and maintaining our life. I have a ton of regen. Righteous Fire is eating a significant portion of that. But we can also turn this off, because with this off, we can still... not quite. I need to juice the build some more. But we can almost hit the dot cap with things as they are, with Righteous Fire off. Which is plenty of damage. And that's what I spent about 15 hours working on in-game and in Path of Building. I just can't stop myself. I looked at the clock and it was 6 a.m. and I had work in 2 hours. It was a rough day of work today, especially since I kept thinking about POB. And I had to pack because I'm flying to California in like 10 hours. Um, Sometimes I wonder if POB is the real game and POB is merely a simulator. But I digress. I'll add my theoretical POB with all my messy notes here to the description. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can also take this and scale it for any other damage over time build on Bog Shaman. You'll need to swap out the cold dots, cold masteries, etc. But the bones of this can be used for any dot build. And thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time. If not, I hope you learned something. And if not that, then I hope you at least enjoyed the snark. And I'll catch you next time.